let's talk about, this is the bedroom. And so the bedroom is the way I remembered it. I see that we have our mirrored, our Mylar wallpaper. But again, I don't want to touch too much. The view, can you see that? I don't know if you can really see that, but here's the view into Louis's garden from his bedroom.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like to say that is because, the view out of this bedroom, Louis's bedroom, he was looking into an empty lot for many years there. So, we have this beautiful garden and Louis and Lucille's bedroom right here. But he was living in Queens. The lots weren't so big. This was his property line ended right about where that lamp post is, just about. And here, I just want to see, just to give you an idea of the view that they had. Okay, so here we are in the closet. Small room, as everybody knows. And again, it's got the Mylar. And I don't know if the docents actually are able to show this to you. And if you have seen this, they weren't supposed to, but just that the wallpaper is on the inside of each cabinet. And when I say each cabinet, I mean each one, as well as the inside up here. And one thing I'd like to point out about this room is this was the master bedroom of the entire house when the Brennans were here and Lucille's mother. And, by New York standards, I guess that's kind of normal, but that kind of tells a story, because before World War II, you had all these multi-generational houses where people lived with their grandparents, sometimes great-grandparents. If you left the house, if you got married or something like that was a big deal, leaving the house. Kids always had somebody to look after them. There was no such thing as daycare before World War II. Who needed it, And this room kind of reflects that. This was a multi-generational house. It was multi-generational when the Armstrongs bought it. It was multi-generational when they lived here for the first few years with Lucille's mother. And so you can see, when you have multi-generation, the rooms tend to be smaller, and people had less stuff back then. Today, this would all just be full of stuff. My records, DVDs, books, blah, 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 people lived a lot simpler back then. So sometimes when we give tours and we talk about how Louis lived a simple life, most people lived a simpler life, if you think about it, in comparison to the way we live today. No internet, no 40 channels on TV, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always think about that when I'm in this room, because, it's kind of spruced up. It looks like backstage or someplace in Las Vegas, but underneath the wallpaper, there's another story. And that's part of our job here, is to tell that other part of the story. Okay, so here we are back at the bedroom, and you'll see Lucille's gown, Lucille's shoes, and you can just see how tiny her feet were. She was 5'1". So we always talk about how she was the first dark-skinned dancer at the Cotton Club. But I also think she's got to be the first 5'1" dancer, right?
Probably.
That's because when you think about club dancers, you're thinking Rockettes type of thing. We're big and leggy. And so Lucille probably stood out in many other ways. So here we are at Louis's bed, Lucille's gown here. And you'll notice the bed has, most people assume this is two twin beds put together. kind of like Lucille Ball and Ricardo, right? Remember how they, right? I Love Lucy. But what happens is this is actually a motorized system, and one bed can actually sit up while the other one lays flat, and vice versa. It's kind of an independent system here. So, I always like to point out these little things only because there's all of these misconceptions that Louis was like this old time guy, which is like ridiculous. Like, because everything suggests the opposite, that he was really looking into like newer stuff and newer ideas, new technology. Like, he didn't really stop. So I don't know where that really came from. But here's the bed. Now, the bedspread we change kind of frequently. This is the first time I've seen this bedspread, actually. All my years here, this is my first time seeing this. And we use the same bedspread that they used and that we keep over here in the linen closet, which everybody's walked past over the years. So here is the bedroom. Okay, now this room, everybody's kind of walked by on their way to the den. And so now you're looking, like if you were looking at me, like most people, they walk into the den and they just go here, boom. But I just want to show people the other side of this room. Now this room, I've heard different stories. I heard Lucille had a desk here at one point. And also, Lucille had built an illegal third floor. And the spiral staircase was in this room at this point. Right now, we use it to hold the coffee table, or the card table, that was in the basement area, like this. And so over here, there's a little closet that we keep supplies in, our fire extinguisher. But in general, so this was blocked off to the public. If you came before that time, this was completely blocked off altogether. So that's kind of important. I just want people to see, because a lot of what they see depends on when they came too. And again, from this room, there's a great view of the block. So you can see right out the block here. And you can see our construction site. And you can see all the way up 107th Street from here. All right, so here we are in the den. Very much the highlight of the tour. But I doubt people have seen the den in the dark. The lights aren't on. The cabinet lights aren't on. It's just lit by sunlight here. And it just gives you an idea. Now in the wintertime, sometimes when I have to close the house down, the house is completely dark. And it's kind of an eerie place. But I just want people, this was Louis's room. This is where he did everything. Kind of the centerpiece of the tour. Here's facsimiles of some of his writings here. His chair, he sat in that chair. He wrote My Life in New Orleans here, entertained here. And I doubt people have seen the cabinets in this closed position from which behind his stereo system is. Over here, since that's always open, you don't see that. But over here, there's a switch that turns on lights for different parts of his cabinet system here. And again, we're going to see the terrace. Now the terrace, I'm sure everybody, when they come to the house, they kind of take a peek onto the terrace, but very few people have actually been on the terrace. So we're going to go outside and take a look on the terrace. We have a picture. I remember, Ricky, do you remember seeing a picture of Louis and Lucille sitting out here looking up the streets right here? I don't know if you can see that or not. And here, the terrace kind of looks around. Onto the street here. And over into the garden, like this, all the way up 107th Street, like this. A closer look at the terrace too, you can see kind of the ornaments, the ornamental decoration up here above the keystones and onto the roof, like that.